I will call the Finance Committee meeting to order. First order of business is approval of the April 2nd minutes.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Okay, Mr. Corey George, you are first. I appreciate you calling me and warning me about these things ahead of time.
No problem. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm here on behalf of Judge Cox in Superior Court Number 3 with a request for $15,000 to be transferred from council contingency. As Beth noted, I did speak to her about this before submitting the request. And that $15,000 from council contingency would be transferred to the criminal appeals line in Superior Court 3. Basically, this year, there have been enough fees for transcripts for criminal appeals that they have or will soon exhaust all the funds for the entire year. I don't believe the account is zeroed out yet, but there are enough claims pending that will zero that out. So Judge Cox and his court reporter believe the $15,000 will cover them for the rest of the year, they hope. And we did review his budget. There were not a lot of other lines where we could find $15,000.
So could you remind us of what that line item funded was originally?
$10,000 for the entire year.
15 gets us through the rest of the year.
Pays for the transcripts for criminal appeals that are required.
Anybody have any questions? It's one of those things for the courts that we just need to cover, so I can entertain a motion to,
So moved.
Second.
motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
Got a lot of Corey's here.
Well, I was gonna ask you if you wanna do that now or in personnel, but he's here, so.
We're gonna go ahead and talk about if you wanna do that now or if you wanna wait till personnel.
Personnel's fine if you like, or we can do it now, whatever you prefer.
If you're okay to stay.
Yeah, I can stay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
So is Jennifer Womack, you're gonna do that? Okay. This is something we knew nothing about, so.
Thank you for placing me on your agenda today. Here today on behalf of Jennifer Romack, Director of Community Corrections. Essentially to accomplish a couple things, we have requested transfer of within the DOC grant of a few different line items. Been through the process of getting those approved by the Community Corrections Advisory Board as well as the Department of Corrections. I'm coming here today to request that final step of transferring these funds. These transfers, the various ones that are outlined in the agenda, really accomplish a couple things. One, they leave the exact amount of money in each salary line item needed to pay out the year for the remainder of the year, and move the excess over to areas where it's needed, specifically health insurance. So health insurance will now be fully funded for the remainder of the year for all of those employees, but also money into some travel and training for some upcoming trainings that we have. Should I go through line by line, or it's outlined in here, or?
It's outlined on the agenda. We might want to just go through it just to make sure.
Okay.
Just for the record, yeah.
Sure. So $6.93 from the director's line item, $15,543.17 from the 10471 line item, Community Corrections Probation Officer, additional $127.90 from the 10473 Home Detention Officer, and lastly $1,600. $45.60 from the 13500 part-time bookkeeper line item. Those combined funds, $11,637.59 going to 13670 health insurance within the grant, and the remaining $5,686.01 into 33230, which is the travel training line item. And then on B, transferring 3,000 from 13660, which is FICA, an additional 3,000 from 33200, professional contractual, all of that going to travel and training as well.
That's a lot of money. Can you explain to us why you need that much money in travel and training?
Travel and training, that line item was previously not funded. We have a couple of upcoming trainings. One is, it's in August. It's a it's a combined, there's a professional association for probation, combined with the community corrections line item that we were anticipating attending. There is a fall conference for both of those for both of those agencies as well. So
Does everybody go to those things?
we're hoping to send a group to it. We won't be able to send everyone.
Yeah.
But, we'll basically eat up the remainder of
Wow,
what's there.
okay.
So there was no money put into training, travel or training for the budget?
Initially in the year, yes, it was budgeted. However, when I was serving as interim, being probably overly cautious, I moved all money out of travel training into different line items where I thought it might be needed. We've since adjusted and settled and are safe to move back some of that funding that was originally there.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, does anybody have any other questions? Is that all explained well now? Thanks for doing that.
Absolutely.
And you did say this is all within the DOC grant.
All within the
In the
DOC
grant,
grant,
okay.
yes. And
That makes
it is always our goal to spend that out, to
Yeah.
spend from that anything that we can.
Okay. That explains it well.
I have a technical question, Ron. So considering I have a spouse that works in this department, is this a conflict of interest for me to vote on this? I don't know if he's going to the training, I have no idea, but,
If you want to just recuse yourself,
okay,
save.
I think I should.
Okay,
So
all right,
We'll make note of that in the minutes then.
yeah.
I would make the motion that we make the moves per Adam's explanation
Mhm.
of all of those listed, unless Bobby wants me to read the whole thing.
She's got it.
second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstain?
Aye.
Any nay? There are none, so motion passes. Thank you,
Thank you all for your time.
appreciate it. Mr. Sharp,
Morning.
how are you doing?
Good. So need to create a line item 33,610 of other repairs in the restricted fund. So we have a restricted and non-restricted and MVH. So there's some broom bristles that we had bought in. Typically, most things we buy out of the garage, so this would be for repairs of equipment and so forth, are in. You gotta pay for them out of the unrestricted part, but since these are broom bristles and so forth, we can pay for them out restricted, so we're transferring some money. That's on down the line. We'll be transferring some money for that, I think, but we need to create that line item.
Do I have a motion to create the line item?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on.
And then second, we need to create two funds, 9210 Community Crossings East Single Seal, and then 9212 Community Crossings West Single Seal. So we'll be we received 2 grants on Community Crossings matching grant money. So the state will send us half of the grant money for that, and then we'll apply the other half. They have to go into a separate fund from our other funds, and then whatever's left at the end of that, then it's split back between our funds and the state funds. So this is just creating the 2 funds, so when we receive the money from the state, then we can put it in.
Keeps everything clean this way, that's
Yep.
much easier. Do I have a motion?
Motion approved. 9210 and 9212.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none, motion passes.
And then the last one is transferring $10,000. This would be from restricted stone and gravel to 1176 unrestricted stone and gravel. It's just transferring back. So at the beginning of the year, we transferred all of our stone and gravel money to restricted. We did some concrete work out of the shop, which can't be paid for out of restricted money. So this is just paying some money back to be able to pay for the concrete.
All right. Do I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. I think we got you taken care of.
Thank
Thank you. And now, Mr. Plaster, it's you.
Good morning again. We have talked about WUR and it going away and becoming the recycling program under Wayne County. We have made those changes. We have divided the assets of the former organization. We moved the part-time employee from soil and water to the commissioner's office, and so we are moving forward. We now need to make sure that we have a budget out of money that has been moved into the recycling fund. And Mark, the auditor's office creates the funds, or do the council have to approve it?
Talk to you first, and then we made a recommendation, and then we review it, and then that's the budget we came up with.
Correct. But I mean, to actually create the fund, which has already been created, do
yes.
you need council to approve that creation of the fund?
What do you want to call it?
The recycling fund, number 4013.
Yes.
Okay, so you need council to approve that.
Yes.
So that would be the first step, if council would approve creating Fund 4013.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to do so.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, your fund is created.
So next would be to appropriate those dollars into the line items that you see on the finance agenda. Ron, recognizing the source of these funds, does this need to be a public hearing? Do they need to open a public hearing? It has been advertised.
It's advertised.
Yeah, I think I would.
Okay, that's what I was assuming that we needed to do, so. We will now open a public hearing. Are there any comments about appropriating the money from the recycling fund into these line items?
I think the only comment I would make is, just for everyone's knowledge, is that these are dollars that are in a restricted dedicated fund that had been previously appropriated by council during the budget season for this year that come from the tipping fees. They are not general fund dollars. This revenue was transferred to Wayne County government with the dissolution of WR, which requires us to appropriate these dollars again for that office to continue operating.
All right.
Very well put, Barry, and I certainly speak in favor of doing this. It's taken a
We need
long
to, yeah.
time and lengthy process to go through. It's still not officially complete through the state of Indiana, at least as far as I know. We've sent the information to IDEM, but have not received back any confirmation that I'm aware of.
I think it's probably so unusual, they don't know how to respond. After some sufficient period of time, we will assume silence is acquiescence, but I don't think that period of time is quite past yet.
Okay.
So I would assume that will be a function of the commissioner's budget.
Correct. Well, not the commissioner's budget because it's a separate fund, but we'll manage it.
Yeah.
We'll manage the department, the employee.
Okay.
Okay. If no further comments, I will I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. So move. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now we need a motion to appropriate these amounts listed into these accounts for the new recycling budget. Do you want to list them?
I
We'll
can.
talk about them. They're on our agenda. It's up to you.
So
You have them printed.
it's about $133,000. There is another $50,000 that is in a certificate of deposit that WUR held. That will come into the fund in September when that matures. But we have ample resources to fund this budget at the time. $105,000, again, all of these are in fund number 4013. That would go into line 33,200 contractual, which will pay for projects, recycling projects, as Kathy was alluding to recently, and that will also pay for the contractual obligation to fund the former WUR staff, what was the WUR staff, for the balance of 2025. At that point, that obligation goes away, and we'll just have the part-time position in the recycling department. There's $1,000 for line 33,230, travel and lodging. $5,000, line 33340, legal notices and advertising. $2,000, 33,920, educational materials. $500, line 22110, for office supplies. $18,400 for line 13510, the part-time employee, and $1,500 in line 13650, the FICA tax.
All right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none, and I'm gonna
Thank
use
you very
Steve's
much.
quote. Thank the Lord. We have been hearing about this for a long time.
Yes, we have. It's been a lengthy process, but we're
Thanks for
glad.
all your work. I think it turned into a lot more than y'all thought it might be, so.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And we'll be moving forward, continuing to work with the Richmond Sanitary District to expand recycling in Wayne County beyond just their footprint around the city. So should be beneficial to everybody.
All right,
Then
talk about the next two. One of them we don't,
now, what you have listed there as D from county edit is not necessary. We already have $1 million appropriated in this budget for the housing accelerator. So that $170,000 will come out of that line item. But we do need to look at a request to appropriate $150,000 from the consolidated edit fund into line 33921, the housing accelerator. And Valerie Schaefer from the EDC, whose office is coordinating the housing accelerator, is here. So I would invite her up to speak to this line item.
good morning, Val.
Good morning. Well, I was here a couple of weeks ago to share the Housing Accelerator Program applications and the recommendations for funding. And as you heard that time, we have about $500,000 already allocated from Consolidated Edit. But in order to fully fund the $820,000 for 82 new homes and 5 unfinished subdivisions across the county, we would ask for an additional $150,000 from Consolidated for this project. I believe the only update since I was here last is that we do have the project agreement that the EDC would enter into with the developers under review by Ron and the commissioners. So we're looking for their feedback to ensure that we have appropriate clawbacks that the county feels comfortable with. But essentially, at the end of the program, which is December 31st, 2029, for every home that is not completed, we will be clawing back $10,000 per home. So know that we do have parameters in place to ensure that the money is put into good use, not only to build the infrastructure, to begin the home building, but to ensure that the homes are actually built and on the market.
Appreciate that. Bobby, has this been duly advertised?
Yes.
Okay, so we need to open a public hearing. Any comments?
Move to close the hearing.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, well, we'll take a vote on appropriating
Madam
$150,000.
President?
Yes.
I have a couple questions, just clarifying
Okay.
questions. So there was $1 million allocated or appropriated from the county edit dollars, right? And so out of that million, how many units will that fund?
At this point, remember that this was a project under the HELP program, the Housing Accelerator, although I don't think it had that name at the time. But the idea of supporting private developers to make sure that there were houses under construction in Wayne County. The division of the dollars, $500,000 from consolidated edit to support construction in the contributing areas, and then $1 million that we had originally set aside for the unincorporated areas of the county, which is where the county edit dollars come from. So that $1 million will be paying the $150,000 or $170,000 up to 17 parcels being developed, lots being developed in an unincorporated area of the county just outside of Cambridge City. The other projects are within incorporated areas, and so to accommodate all of those, the request was to give another $150,000 of consolidated edit because all of the areas are in contributing towns and the city to support those 4 projects. So did that?
No, that helps.
Okay.
So,
The other $830,000 has not been committed to anything yet. My thinking is we see how this phase goes, and we look at do we want to continue to restrict those dollars to unincorporated areas, which there was only one application from the unincorporated areas. We obviously have the option of changing the guidelines so that we could use county edit dollars within incorporated areas if we all agree to do that. So we're kind of taking a look at how this works, and then we'll have a round 2 with those dollars that are still available with county edit.
so if we're appropriating, it's gonna get approved today, I assume. But, if we appropriate the $150,000, is that all allocated just to the Richmond, or is that Centerville, Richmond?
Richmond, I
Centerville,
believe, are where
Yes.
those projects are located, and outside of Cambridge City is where the county edit dollars would be committed.
And have we signed contracts and agreements with people already or notified them?
No, they are aware of the parameters of the development agreement and are agreeable. And
To the clawbacks?
yes, yes, but we have not sent it to them. We're waiting for the county's final review and approval.
Well, I mean, when I worked for the city, we did a housing needs assessment, and that was 40 years ago. God, that's ancient. It wasn't 40 years ago. It was 25 years ago. And, I mean, I recognize housing has always been one of those priorities, but just to recap for the public of how much money, tax money is going into housing with y'all's effort here. So 2 million to the apartments where Elder Beerman's going, and that was TIF'd. Was that bonded as well?
Yes.
So that was bonded by the city?
Yeah,
The Elder Beerman has ready money, ready one, it has TIF money, it has consolidated edit money.
So it's more than 2 million
oh, yeah.
into that
It's
project.
2 million of consolidated edit.
Okay. And then great project with Earlham's Eli Lilly funding going down to downtown apartments. Private money, but probably over an investment of 5 million. That'd be about right, into apartments?
For the
Private
downtown
money?
apartments, the project that the EDC is facilitating, the private developer will invest about 27 million.
And what's the private investment for Elder Beerman?
About 37 million.
Then 4 million of ready to money possibly for the east side development. That was TIF'd as well and bonded, correct?
Correct.
And then we know there's $1 million already assigned to the Housing Accelerator Program that we're talking about today.
There's $1 million of county edit, of which we're planning to use $170,000 for this particular round of projects, correct?
And for the total amount we're asking to invest in the Housing Accelerator Program, $820,000, the total private investment for the 5 subdivisions to be completed will be around $26 million.
It's a lot of money, tax money. And I know there's private development attached to it too, but, so, I mean, from my perspective, I'd like to see something happen. We've put all this money out, so, I mean, I'm just would like to be on hold with my vote for this today. And I know I'll be the only one, but that's kind of normal for me.
It is hard because we have so much in the pipeline, but we haven't seen anything finished yet.
I know, and so that's just kind of where I'm at right now.
And I have a couple of things. I've been involved in a lot of meetings over probably the last 10 years that all we've talked about is the need for housing, and study after study after study showed us that's what we need. And I'm happy that there's something finally happening. It's hard to get those developers from those big cities to come over here to do anything. I mean, I'm grateful that they even have considered coming to Wayne County. If we're gonna keep our population up, keep our tax money coming in and all those different things, we've got to go forward and not move backwards in our
To
population.
that point, Beth, if you build a house in Wayne County, it essentially costs the same, other than the land acquisition costs, as it does to build one in one of the donut counties. But the sale price is
Sale price
significantly
is less here.
And the demand, the length of time it's on the market is considerably less in those high population areas. So to get development here, we really need to invest some public dollars to kind of prime the pump, if you will. The private investment is tremendously more than the public investment, but it is an incentive for them to build here. The most recent housing study showed that we have a need for about 450, is that
Yes.
right? 450 housing units per year to be constructed over the next 5 years. We're nowhere near that total number yet in the pipeline. So we think this holds a lot of promise, and I would encourage you to support this.
So we hosted the governor on Thursday downtown and just gave him a short overview of all the things that are going on in Wayne County, and especially the housing. We are kind of pushing for our Ready 2.0 money to come our way for sure. But he was so impressed with what we have going on, said he wanted to send other counties here to look at the things that we're doing. So I was very encouraged by those words, because we don't always know everything that's going on everywhere else, but he sees it, and I was glad that he recognized how hard we've worked and what's going
His
on.
comment was that not only, because I asked him, is the Ready $2 going to be released soon? He said not only would Ready 2 happen, but they were planning for Ready 3 and beyond.
Yeah, so that's encouraging, very encouraging.
Points out why we need to continue with our plans so that we have things ready to go when funding becomes available.
And I will also add that the $820,000, if approved, will be used as match to leverage another $820,000 in ready funding for a neighborhood stabilization project that we're working on. So we're trying to leverage all these public dollars that are being invested, and we're doing the same thing for downtown development. The city and the county each contributed $1 million from ARPA funding for the downtown revitalization grants. We're leveraging that to also ask for the same amount in ready funds, as well as the additional $1 million that was appropriated late last year. So we've asked for another $3 million for downtown investment.
Yeah. So it's been a while. We closed the public meeting, didn't we? Okay. We just need a motion to appropriate the $150,000 from consolidated edit into the housing accelerator.
So move we appropriate 150,
Do we have a second?
107.
The 150. Do we have a second?
Yeah, 150, yes.
Second.
I was getting scared. All right. Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Let that be noted. Motion passes. Thank you. And Valerie, while you're still here, I always have to give Valerie kudos. She had her annual dinner Monday.
Yes.
Monday. And she just does such a fantastic job for our county, and we couldn't ask for a better EDC director, and I appreciate everything that you do.
Appreciate that.
It was great. It was really good to hear all the things that are going on.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, believe it or not, we're at the end of the, oh no, I got one more thing, don't I? We had a last minute. Trying to see what I did with it. Last minute transfer from the sheriff, yes. That was at the 11th hour, or the 11:59 hour. So do you know about this? You want to talk about it?
The transfer that was submitted by the sheriff is a transfer from open salary line items in the jail to overtime. If you recall, during the budget cycle, we cut the overtime line item and told him that if he ran short, that we would take steps to move money from somewhere into his overtime. So my understanding is that they sent a convoluted request that was reduced to a single line for us to be able to act on today. I'm sorry, Sheriff, I didn't see you sitting out there.
I didn't know he was here either.
I'll be quiet if you'd like to speak to this.
I'm sorry.
I didn't see
I didn't know he was in there.
Did this have to be advertised?
No.
So we can,
No,
we
it's
can
just a
act on
transfer.
this without, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
sorry.
As Councilman Ritter explained, the overtime budget was reduced for this year, and because of the continued cost of overtime to our, because of the mental health transports that we're doing so much of, we are dangerously close to zeroing out the overtime account already. So I'm asking to transfer money from 12301, which is a currently we currently have a corrections officer in that line item, but they were hired and appointed to that line item on April 17th. So all of the money that was vacant from the first of the year until April 17th. So there's sufficient funding in that line item to pay that individual for the rest of the year, but unused salary that's in there, for the 4 months prior. Be transferring money from that CO line item into the overtime line item 13640. The amount is $13,000.
Sheriff, for our recollection, what was the amount budgeted in that line item for this year that you've gone through already?
$125,000.
$125,000. So you'll be back for another transfer sometime this year?
In 2 weeks. In a not so convoluted request.
I apologize for that word, but as it was explained to me, I said, boy, that's convoluted.
That's great, Barry. That's great.
I'm gonna make a motion now.
So is he. They both are.
That'll be a conversation later.
Good thing they're buddies, huh?
We are.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve this transfer?
So I made a motion.
Second.
We've got a motion and all kinds of seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Okay, you get this one, then we'll see about the rest, huh?
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you. I think that wraps up finance. I don't know if we need a motion. I can't even remember at this point.
I move we adjourn the finance
There we
committee.
go. Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Do we
None
approve?
opposed.
We need a priority.